Have you ever wondered what it takes to face one of the coldest, toughest places on Earth? Imagine a journey so harsh it tests every ounce of bravery and willpower in a person. This is the story of Captain Robert Falcon Scott, a man who dared to explore the frozen wasteland of Antarctica more than a century ago. Scott's journey was filled with hope, courage, and a great challenge that ended in tragedy. But beyond the harsh, cold, and danger, his story offers powerful lessons for all of us. If you watch this video till the end, you will discover not only the thrilling history of Scott's expedition, but also inspiring life lessons that can help you face your own challenges with strength. Let's begin this journey together, stepping back to a time when the world was still largely unknown, and a brave man set off to reach the South Pole against all odds. Captain Robert Falcon Scott was born in England in 1868. From a young age, he loved the sea and ships. He joined the Royal Navy and quickly became known for his courage and skill. When the chance came to lead an expedition to the South Pole, Scott saw it as his greatest test. The race to the pole was not just about adventure, but about national pride and scientific discovery. Scott wanted to be the first to reach the pole and bring glory to his country. His team prepared for the journey with great care. They gathered supplies, special clothing, and sled dogs to help carry their gear. The ship that would take them to Antarctica was called the Terra Nova. Everyone knew the trip would be dangerous. The cold was deadly, the weather could change in seconds, and the land was covered in ice and snow. But Scott and his men were brave and determined. They believed in their mission and hoped to succeed against all odds. This was not just a trip to explore unknown lands. It was a journey to test human limits and make history. What Scott did not know was how close this trip would bring him and his team to the edge of survival. The journey began in November 1910. The Terra Nova set sail from England, carrying Scott and his team to the far south. After weeks at sea, they finally reached Antarctica in early 1911. The land was as beautiful as it was brutal. Snow stretched in every direction. The temperature was far below freezing. Winds could blast like a storm, making walking almost impossible. Scott's team started their trek toward the South Pole. They walked through deep snow and over towering ice ridges. Every day was full of new challenges. The cold made hands and feet numb. Food was limited, and the heavy sled slowed them down. Yet, the men pressed forward, driven by a dream to be the first to stand at the bottom of the world. Scott's team faced more than just the cold. Blizzards trapped them for days. Sometimes they lost their way in whiteout storms. Still, hope and teamwork kept them moving. They shared stories, laughter, and kept spirits high. This was not just a physical journey, but a test of character and will. Soon, the race to the pole was heating up. Unknown to Scott, a Norwegian explorer named Roald Amundsen was already ahead on the same path. The pressure to reach the pole first made every step more urgent and dangerous. In 1911, the race to the South Pole was on between two great explorers, Captain Robert Falcon Scott from Britain and Roald Amundsen from Norway. Both wanted to be the first to reach the cold, frozen bottom of the world. Scott left his base camp on November 1, 1911, with a team of 5 men. They traveled with motor sledges, dogs, ponies, and on foot. Amundsen, however, took a different route and started earlier. Using skis and sled dogs expertly, he reached the pole first on December 14, 1911. Scott and his team arrived more than a month later, on January 18, 1912, only to find the Norwegian flag already there. Scott's disappointment was deep, but what came next tested the courage and strength of his team like never before. They faced a long, hard journey, back in terrible weather, with little food and extreme cold. Every step home was a fight for survival. Scott and his men showed great courage, but tragically, they did not make it. Scott's last diary entry was dated March 29, 1912, and soon after, he and his men died in their tents, frozen, hungry, and exhausted. This story is not just about failure, but about bravery and the human spirit in extreme conditions. Scott's journey left a lasting mark on history and taught many powerful lessons about leadership, perseverance, and facing hardships with dignity. After reaching the South Pole, Scott and his team had to begin the long and dangerous journey home. The return trip was even harder than the way there. One of the men, Edgar Evans, weakened by frostbite and injuries, died on the way. Another, Lieutenant Lawrence Oates, suffering severe frostbite in his feet, made a heartbreaking decision. To help his friends survive, he walked out into a blizzard and into certain death, saying, "I am just going outside and maybe some time." Scott and the remaining 2 men, Wilson and Bowers, kept moving but grew weaker every day. They battled fierce cold, hunger, and exhaustion. Supplies ran low, and rescue was far away. Trapped in their tents, they spent their last days writing letters and diaries, hoping their story would be told. In November 1912, a rescue party found Scott and his companions frozen in their tent, just 11 miles from a supply depot. The diaries and letters revealed the courage and pain they faced on the last leg of their journey. The world mourned their loss, but Scott's story became a symbol of heroism and human spirit. It showed how, even in defeat, there can be bravery, loyalty, and lessons for us all. This tragic ending did not stop people from admiring Scott. His leadership, courage, and hope in the worst conditions inspired many generations. And his story reminds us to keep going. No matter how hard the path may be, Captain Robert Falcon Scott's legacy is much more than the tragedy of a failed expedition. His journey left a deep mark in many ways. Though he did not reach the South Pole first, his expedition added huge scientific value. Scott and his team studied glaciers, the weather, plants, animals, and even fossils in Antarctica. This turned Antarctica from a mystery into a place people could begin to understand. Scott became a symbol of bravery. His leadership showed the strength of teamwork, courage, and loyalty. Even during the hardest times, he cared for his men and never gave up hope. His final words in his diary showed his determination to stick with his team until the end. Many remember him as a national hero who faced the world's harshest conditions with honor. Scott's story teaches us important lessons. It shows that failure is not the end but part of the journey. His expedition reminds us to plan well, work as a team, and keep going even when things look impossible. His legacy lives on in science, exploration, and the spirit to never quit. Scott's expedition also inspired future explorers and scientists. It was part of what is called the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. Many museums and exhibitions today celebrate his achievements and the knowledge gained from his journey. Scientists around the world continue to study Antarctica, building on the work started by Scott and his team. Beyond science, Scott became a symbol of courage and leadership. His story teaches us how to face tough challenges with bravery and hope. Even though he did not succeed in his goal, the way he led his team and kept going despite hardships remains admired. Scott's legacy is a reminder that sometimes the journey and the lessons learned are more important than the final outcome. Captain Scott's story teaches many valuable leadership lessons. One of the key lessons is the power of clear planning. Unlike his rival Amundsen, who carefully planned every step of his expedition before leaving, Scott made many decisions on the move. This caused confusion and stress for his team. Good leaders must create a clear vision and plan that everyone understands and follows. Another important lesson is consistency. Scott's team faced uncertainty and changing plans, which added to their struggles. Consistent leadership builds trust and helps teams stay strong in hard times. Leaders should also share information openly to keep everyone informed and prepared. Scott valued loyalty and discipline, but at times he did not listen enough to his men's advice. A great leader listens to the team, adapts to new information, and stays flexible. Scott's expedition reminds us that courage alone is not enough. Preparation, communication, and teamwork are just as vital. These lessons from Scott's journey help us lead better lives and teams, whether in work, family, or personal challenges. His story is a lesson in hope, perseverance, and learning from both success and failure. To wrap up, Captain Scott's journey to Antarctica shows us a story of bravery, hard work, and hope. His expedition reminds us that even when we face huge challenges, we should keep trying and never lose faith. Scott taught the world that true courage is about staying strong, helping others, and pushing forward, even when the end is near. Remember, success is not always about winning, but about the effort, the lessons learned, and the spirit to continue. If Captain Scott's story inspired you, please like this video, subscribe for more amazing stories, and share it with friends who love history and motivation. Together, we can learn from the past and face our own journeys with courage. Thank you for watching till the end. Stay brave and keep exploring.